Greetings everybody. You're just about to view a video of a presentation that I gave to the South Coast Panel of Cricket Officials 2026 pre-season meeting entitled Colour Blindness and the Umpire. It's designed to be fairly straightforward, and cricket is uniquely exposed to colour blindness, as it turns out. I'm colourblind. My name is Steven Nicholson. I've been a member of the panel for about 12 years actually, I think now. There are many problems associated with colour blindness and sport. I noticed with interest the other day, looking at the snooker for example, the referee had to clarify which was a brown and red ball, which is very common for colourblind people. This presentation will encompass specifically for cricket, but we're interested to hear from any sporting people. Feel free to contact us on the details of this video. You'll see the video as it progresses and you'll learn a lot about colour blindness. We have the solution for colour blindness, okay, to turn colourblind people into non-colourblind people, simply put, using the Coloron system. Very clever, very effective. I certainly have used it myself, and hopefully with any luck you'll be able to take advantage. We look forward to speaking to you. Okay, please contact us, and any sporting clubs or anybody who wants any more information, we'll be glad to once again help you out. Thanks very much. Bye bye.
You lucky people, give me a microphone. Okay, look. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to actually present this to you. It's something that has been on the back burner for some time in terms of colour vision. What we have really is, it's been pretty much a hot topic, okay, in terms of your vision and colour blindness. Okay. What you see on the screen here, I'll put something up to start off with. I don't know if you realise, but 1 in 12 males are colourblind. And in actual fact, it's actually probably worse than that. To give you an example, last week I screened 10 indoor umpires, okay, of which 4 came back colourblind or colour vision deficient. Colourblind implies that you don't have colour at all, you can't see colour. Colour vision deficiency is pretty much colour vision deficiency. Obviously what you have is known as colour blindness. The reason that you've got 1 in 200 females is genetic, okay, and I'm going to cover this for you, okay, later in the slides. 1 in 12 males, as I said, is, you know, it's pretty low actually. Down the side there you'll see some famous people. Now these are the famous people that admit to being colourblind, because colour blindness is pretty much known as a bit of a stigma. People don't say. Okay? They don't say they're colourblind because of the things that it might imply as you go on through your life. So if you look there, apparently Mr. Zuckerberg there, the reason that Facebook is blue, so I understand, so the legend has it, that he's colourblind. He can't actually see red very well, or green. So if you look down there, there's something, of course, the worst person at the very bottom is myself, bringing up the rear. Okay, I'm colourblind. I'm known as a strong protan, okay, which is a type of colour blindness, red-green colour blindness, and I'm going to cover this, and I'm going to show you what actual people see when they're colourblind, okay, and we're going to attempt to. So you'll see some famous people there, one of which is Ian Botham. So didn't seem to do him any harm. Imagine what he would have done if he could actually see colours properly. Okay. Right, here's something for you. Sorry for the fact they're over there, and you're welcome to take a test on the colour blindness as well. Has anybody ever seen this before? Obviously not over there. If you have, put your hand up in the air. Okay. Does anybody put your hands down? Does anybody know that they've failed this test? Put your hands up in the air. Okay. Obviously on the screen there, we've got something that you can see. It consists of a set of dots. It's known as the Ishihara test, okay? Developed by a very clever person back in 1917. So this has actually been some time, and it's the standard way that you would have seen this. Generally it's at school, like myself. They would test you, and then they would say, right, okay, you failed your test, tough luck, off you go. Okay, no solution whatsoever. that's now changed, and there is a solution for colour blindness and to mitigate the effects of colour blindness. For those that are colourblind, there's a 7, presumably people can see that 7, most people can see the 7 hopefully. You will be surprised who is actually colourblind that you know. That's very, very common. There is a funny story with the Ishihara test. I had a patient years ago and he said, Steve, I'm not being funny, but I can't say Ishihara, I'm going to actually call it the Japanese motorbike test. Because basically speaking, he couldn't say it. But he's a very clever guy, but it's been in situ for many, many years. And there is another solution, another test, which has been an AI test, which I'm going to show you in a second. Okay, so we've got the Coloron AI test. This can be done on a phone or a touchscreen tablet. Okay, pretty straightforward. And what you see is a grid there, and if you look here, this one's the first screen that you see. There's a different colour block of square block, if you like. What you'll do is you touch that little section that's a different colour. If you're not sure, you'll hit not sure. It will then take you onto another screen. Okay, another screen, another screen. At the end of that, you will actually end up with a diagnosis to see if your colour vision is good or bad or whatever it is. It's actually quite clever the way that it works. I'm not going to go into too many details, but it's very clever. Colour, it turns out that cricket umpires, because we're talking to all sorts of sports on this, and we're also trying to talk to the ECB as well with regard to this. Turns out that cricket is uniquely exposed to colour blindness, okay, and that will become apparent as we go through. So pretty much a very clever test. I'm going to email this to every single one of you with the permission of the league. Okay, if you'd be good enough to do the test, then come back to me by the email address on there. It's really a data gathering exercise, really, it's numbers, okay, of those on the panel that are potentially colourblind. There is a solution for colourblindness now. I have those specs here, okay, and you can actually, you're welcome to come and try it. You're also welcome to try and test your eye in terms of the colour vision performance over there. So I'm going to send that to you and email it to you, and you can come back to me if you would. Right, now here's something very interesting, and this is why it's unique. This is a result of a test that I did on Umpire. Okay? If you look at the top there, it says initial test results. The type of your colour deficiency is a mild protan, so basically that's mild colour blindness. Okay, mild, not severe. I'm quite severe. But if you sort of look down where it says what it means, this type of red-green colour vision deficiency can lead to mutish or brownish reds, and the challenge is distinguished between reds and greens. What is the colour that we most often have, we umpire with, the red ball, yeah? What is the colour of the actual pitch that we're standing on? Green. Okay? So it actually says that you clearly have issues with not being able to distinguish between red and green. Okay? That's not fantastically good for an umpire, is it really? Because we actually, that's part of our parcel. Different colour balls, I'll come to that and show you different things. What I'm going to do is do a bit of a butchered test actually. Something I've put together that I'm going to try and actually simulate something for you in terms of what you actually see, but it's not rolling around this. Right. What colour's that?
Red.
Who said blue? Somebody said blue. That's red. That's a little bit of a cheat, really. This is an indoor ball, so that's very red. Yes, you would agree. Yeah? So very red. What colour's that?
Cherry red. Dark red.
How many different people have actually said different things? That is how a colourblind person potentially would see a red cricket ball. Okay? Says clearly on before, distinguish between reds and browns, so reds appear brown. Okay? I've actually put some boot polish on this one to make it a bit more effective. But that is how potentially an umpire would see a cricket ball that is designed to be bright red and should show up. Quite startling. So between the two, if you look, quite good. Now it's a bit of a technical sort of mumbo jumbo, if you like, but effectively that's actually what it means. Okay. So what you see on the screen there is there's two types of colour blindness really. Red, green colour blindness, as we said, but you've got deutan and protan. And deutan tends to be less severe with a brittle broad staining, and again it's a technical subject, so I'm not going to go into great technicalities. So what we're trying to simulate here really is what a mildly colourblind person would see. So you have a typical colour vision and a deutan colour vision. Okay, so you see the difference in actually what you perceive. And that coupled with the fact that the ball's a different colour. So what we're actually saying there is that, you know, you've got a reduced sharpness, if you like. And also, as latest research says, that if you're over 60, okay, you require 3 times more light than you would do normally. Okay, so there's fair few people over 60 here. And so you're requiring more brightness anyway. And secondly, okay, you're colour deficient, everything's not as sharp. So that's white clothing. Obviously we do colour clothing. So this on the worst case scenario is potentially what a colourblind person could see. It's difficult to do this, especially with a projector here. But what you see there is potentially what you can have. In terms of the visibility of water, for example, the red ball, as we've spoken about, has some challenges. A pink ball is derivative of a red, isn't it, really? So if you wash a red t-shirt, you end up with a pink t-shirt, okay? So pink's a challenge. The orange ball is a challenge as well. White ball is fantastic. Everybody's got good vision of a white ball. But what they're actually saying is that you've got a reduced vision of a ball that's supposed to be a specific colour. So I've got 2 or 3 balls there that colourblind people really struggle to see. So what effect does colour vision deficiency have on umpires, aside from questionable clothing? Okay, which most colourblind people would come and start now and again with questionable clothing. Well, let's talk about it. Safety. Okay, so you can't see a ball that's supposed to be that colour. Okay, you see it as that colour. Okay, it's coming towards you at a rapid rate of knots, potentially from the outfield. Safety is a huge issue. Okay, you know, think of the sample. You know, the actual example of the ball going away from you about 70 miles an hour, being hit at 70 miles an hour. Hopefully, it's going to enable you to spot that ball. Okay, but if you think about it, you've probably got less than 2 seconds to pick that ball up before it's arriving. If you don't see it correctly in the first place, you've got less. Depth perception. So again, we're not seeing it so brightly, okay? It's actually being duller, and therefore what's going to happen is your depth perception's off. You know, where is it in relation to me? Your reaction time. Again, you don't see it. You don't see it as well as some people should do. Okay, colourblind people do not see the ball as well as they should, and enables them to react in time. And you've got the delayed identification of the direction of the ball, which is tied in with reaction time, of course. So, you know, where is it? You know, is it going to hit me? You know, is it going to hit anybody? And it goes the same for people on the field, not just umpires. Going for lots and lots of different sports have the same issue. So you have a differentiation of the ball from coloured backgrounds, and that's a very important one. So the outfield, trees, pavilions, players' pads as well. You can get tangled up in players' pads, you don't see that as you should. Boundary boards, side screens, and in fact I was talking to a football referee and he struggles with LED screens, you know, around the sides. And one of the things that we've spoken to several umpires about is basically fatigue. You know, you're trying harder to actually pick the ball up, okay, to look at it, figure out where it is, and it's exhausting enough as it is if you've done 120 overs or whatever it is. So you suffer from fatigue, okay, as well. And without a doubt, there are many effects of colour blindness on cricket participants, a large percentage of which are unique to cricket. So remember, green background, red ball, not picking it, etc., etc., etc. So, spoke about colour blindness being genetic. Okay, we said 1 in 12 people, males, are actually colourblind. Yeah, 1 in 200 females. So So that means really, without getting too complicated, talking about chromosomes and wavelengths, that the female actually carries the gene and transfers it to the male, simply put. On the screen you see my route to colour blindness. My granddad was actually colourblind. Okay, he transferred it to my mum to me, but I've also got a sister, she carries the gene, and then my nephew's colourblind. So can you see the way that it makes it through? Well, women, I've only ever come across one woman colourblind person in my whole career in optics. Very, very rare. Very rare. Perhaps more than 1 in 200. So you see the process. You know, it's carried by the female and transferred to the male, which is why you see less people, women, in terms of colourblindness. So that's all well and good on cricketers, but let's just talk about what happens in your daily life. Okay, you know, red green colourblindness is the most common. Okay, and there's a couple of examples up there. You might have some difficulties differentiating between different colours. Reds and greens are an obvious one. Okay, lime greens and yellows, similar shade. Okay, reds and browns, pink, light grey, light blue. You get those mixed up. Blues and purples. Often autumnal colours, when people will say, oh, those wonderful, lovely colours for autumn. Okay, colourblind people just see it as brown and green. Okay, more often than not. So they won't see those reddy colours or orangey colours. Colour deficiency is life limiting. Okay, right, so people don't talk about being colourblind, okay, at all. You will be, as soon as you are diagnosed, okay, you have less opportunity. Okay, people don't talk about it. It's almost a stigma, okay, in terms of colourblindness. It will stop you being a police, firefighters, train drivers. There's all sorts of scenarios that you can't actually do. So you do become life limited. Okay, very much so. And see, people don't talk about it and they keep quiet about it, you know. As I said, it's perceived as a weakness, if you like, kind of stigma with it. In a recent survey, 75% of people said that it's much easier to identify and distinguish between colours while wearing their Coloron enhancement lenses. I have here the solution to colour blindness, the mitigation of colour blindness. They're here, okay. I'm just going to roll it on for you. Right, so what you see here, you can have a look a bit later on. You've got various different issues. So when you do the colourblind test, it will tell you which one that you need. Okay, and these are effectively filters. Okay, they can go in a pair of specs. Okay, a colour overlay, if you like, or a clip-on. You've got basically different types. A strong lens for people like me, okay, will be a strong protan. You have a strong reflex lens for deutan, and then you have an experienced lens for something else. Now you can do sun specs. In fact, I've got here a sun spec, and I've also got a strong one here that you can actually have a look at. How it works, without getting too technical, is your red and green areas of your vision, without getting too technical, are in the wrong place, effectively. They cross over with each other. So what will happen is that actual specs themselves will literally manoeuvre those reds and greens into the position where they should be. This is very simple, what I'm talking about. It's more complex than that. And what they'll do is enable you to see colours as they should be. I can tell you from personal use, on colourblind, I can't pick any of those out over there, any of those test plates. And put the specs on, can see colours fantastically well, especially reds and greens. It's like they're having a completely different life. So kids nowadays, we did a test for a kid, he was 9, okay, and it's a huge thing for them. They happened to notice that his painting that he was doing, painting contest, was awful. It was basically weird and wonderful different colours. When you got him to do the AI test, and we put a pair of these strong lenses on him, okay, and immediately, and with him there was no adaptation time, always about a 10-minute adaptation time. He ran straight out to all his kids, and all the kids said, what colour is this, what colour is that, what colour? And he could see colours for the first time. So his life will be changed by this type of technology. Okay, he won't have the problem that we've had in the past. Not only that, when he took them off, for about half an hour afterwards, he continued to see good colours. He continued to do it. I had the same thing for a different reason. When I took them off, I could still see colours. Okay? So you have a 10-minute adaptation time. What they say to you, you put them on, and you look at something white, and you wait for it to go back white, and then off you go. But it is truly, if you're colourblind, a startling thing. Your brain is a bit confused because obviously you're used to seeing colours in a different way. Okay, you are. So therefore, it takes a bit of adaptation time. But it's solvable. Colour blindness is solvable. Here's the answer, here. Okay, right here, and you're welcome to have a go at it. I'm going to send you the test. Okay, if you'd be good enough to do it and email it back. We're going to be talking to all sorts of people in terms of colour vision, all sorts of sports. Hockey, the whole lot of them, basically speaking. So just some data would be good for us. No names, you don't have to give your name. Send it back to me. We'll see how many numbers we get back. That pretty much wraps it up. Have you got any questions?